got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay, cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency, a message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy, hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe, I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I shot my
And we're live.
Let's play a game.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. PRE here. Some of you may know me as Heretic. This is from the London Standard. What I'm assuming is also the Evening Standard. It's all the same stuff. It's the mainstream woke media in the UK, down in London. And what's really interesting here is that there is an article here from 2 days ago in their lifestyle aspect, which is promoting all of the red pill narratives. So this is from the Standard. The title is "Dating Apps Have Become the Kiss of Death for Male Reproductive Success," says a new book from author and scientist David Baker. His new book is The Shortest History of Sex. And he's highlighting, and the author of this article is highlighting, the major problems that are going on in the dating world. And of course this means absolutely nothing to me. I'm too old for this stuff. I'm not interested in it, but I'm interested in it. Why am I interested in it? Because I got 2 kids. They're both interested in women, both my lads, and they've got a future to actually have. And what the hell will their future be? What do they need to know? Why do they need to know this stuff? And so the information in this article is basically giving all of the hit points that the red pill have been given. The author is a lady called Emily Phillips. Now that's interesting. I've not really heard of Emily Phillips, and I don't really usually read the Standard. I'm not from down in London. But this is 2 days ago. Online dating isn't the screen we thought it was. A smaller number of men are today willing to approach a woman they don't know in public. That has led to a dependency on dating apps. And we've all heard this stuff. Why don't men come up to us in public? Why aren't men confident enough to do this? And we know it's because humiliation, reputation destruction, hashtag Me Too, all of these sorts of things, false accusations and the like, and men are just going, sod this, it's not worth it. As a separate aspect, there's a note here which I hadn't seen before, and I've not heard of it before. And it's, if you meet your spouse in a bar or club, in other words, you approach a woman that you don't know in public, if you marry them, your chances of divorce increase by roughly 45%. I've no idea where that number comes from at all. I don't know where the statistics come from for this whole article. I'm assuming, with it being the Standard that's reporting on this, that this might well be British stats, British information from British surveys, but it might not be. This might be taken straight from America, and we know, of course, that American stuff comes over here to the UK. The results of the trends in using apps is that women of average to high levels of attractiveness are typically inundated with matches on dating apps, whereas the Tinder experience of the average man is a decidedly more desert-like experience. In other words, they get nothing. Most women get everything. Most men get absolutely nothing. App data indicates that women swipe right or accept a match with somebody on average 12.5% of the time, whereas men swipe right 65% of the time. Women on apps are or can be exceedingly selective, whereas most men aren't. This is a standard process for men. Men are often willing to overlook little deficiencies in how somebody appears in their appearance, which is what the dating apps are all about. You look at your phone, you see the photos that they put on there, and you are judging somebody immediately on how they look. It's all about objectification. Men don't really care by the sounds of it. Men swipe right 65% of the time. On 65% of women, men will give them a chance. Whereas women will only swipe right 12.5% of the time. Now, I've heard much lower numbers than this, sometimes as low as 2% of the time for women. But I'm going to accept the numbers that are in here. These are in the mainstream woke media of London, written by a woman. So I'm going to accept this. I'm going to accept their numbers. They seem a little bit different from what I've heard previously. A contributing factor is that men tend to have fewer flattering photos of themselves to post on apps. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Men don't cover themselves in makeup. Men don't use filters. Men are just accept who they are. But one of the interesting stats in here is modern dating app data shows women rate 75 to 80% of men as below average. 75 to 80% of men are below average, so they are below standard. So average is not average, therefore. Average is the majority, or average is the minority, and everybody that is below that high level of minority status is classified by women as below average and not good enough. Now, this is a problem. This is a major problem for the future dating market and potentially for the future continuance of the human race, for the future generations in society as to whether they will enjoy their lives with somebody that they wish to be with. Not that I agree in the slightest with marriage at all, but this 75 to 80% of men being below average on Tinder doesn't mean about marriage. It doesn't even mean about relationships. It means about getting any type of intimate relationship whatsoever. Even a quick one-off, a little quickie. 80% of men will not get there. That's the problem. That's the problem for the future. It says here, for about 2 million years, men have relied on more than just looks to signal their appeal to a potential mate, such as charming conversation or telegraphing utility and aspirations. The other bit is their ability to protect, how big they are, how strong they are. But it also It also indicates that men don't look at people's looks to judge the appeal of a potential mate. And that comes from the previous data, which is men will swipe right, men will try and match with a woman with 65% of women, not with just 12.5%. The upshot of male dependence on dating apps is that male sexlessness is at record levels, with approximately 17% of men under the age of 30 being virgins, and 28% of them not having had sex in the past year. If you take the definition of an incel, which is not having had sex in the past year, the original definition, that means 28%, somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 3 men under 30 years old are incels in the UK. I'm going to have to assume this is UK figures, and if not, I'm going to have to assume that they match to UK figures. That is most definitely a problem. Why is it a problem? Because a lot of women like men to have experience, whereas it's quite opposite for men. Men would prefer women, a lot of men would prefer women to be quite inexperienced. I'm not necessarily going to say that men expect women to be virgins. I certainly never did. It was always a joy to find one. But I don't think men really want women who have got large amounts of experience with lots of different men. And I think that's where the issue is. It says here that dating apps can also be punishing for women, but for drastically different reasons. The flood of matches has created an illusion of choice, which does not translate into greater reproductive success for most women. According to app data, female right swipes tend to cluster toward a minority of men, 5 to 15%. Now, this does align with the American data, around about 5 to 10% from the American data that I've heard of. So this seems to be equal to it. And it says here with a great deal of overlap, eliminating other contenders who may have made perfectly good mates. Very true, very true. But what it also means is you don't need to be talking about mates here. You're talking about any kind of reaction or interaction between the sexes. Any kind. If they do not swipe right on you, you do not get the chance to even speak to them. You don't get the chance to meet them, ever. There's a really good analogy given here, though. On one level, you can hardly fault someone for choosing what's in front of them. If you have 100 people offering to sell you a Ferrari for $1, you're hardly going to pay much attention to the 900 people offering to sell you a Ford Fiesta. Now, this is where it's massively different in today's age. Because you've got access to these little machines with your dating apps on them, and there's a lot of people on there, you've suddenly got access to a lot of people. A lot of people that in the past you would never have ever known about. Somebody that's 10 miles away, you would never see them, ever. You might pass them in the street when you're out on a Saturday afternoon or in town or something, but you generally would never get to see them. Suddenly you've got all these people on your in your eye line, and you can actually promote yourself to them by swiping right on it, and then they get the chance whether to accept your match or to get rid of you. So yeah, you're not going to be looking for a Ford Fiesta. So this starts coming down to having a bit of an understanding of how you fit within the, let's use the term sexual marketplace, shall we? That sexual marketplace, if you are average and you refuse to connect through to average people, you have set yourself up for some major problems. So you have to have a realistic understanding of who you are, what you are, and where your position is in the sexual marketplace. Now, of course, men are not picky at all in relation to hooking up. They may well be very picky at the lowest ends of the spectrum. But if you are at the lowest ends of the spectrum, you can't exactly expect to be hitting it off with anyone at the high end of the spectrum, or even possibly at the average end of the spectrum. But if you're a woman, you may get somebody who just goes, yeah, I'll give you a one-night stand. And that might be what's happening if somebody just wants to be really quick and go, bang, I want somebody tonight. Netflix and chill, whatever. And that is generally the woman that says yes, because the women control access to the bedroom, access to what is in between their legs, shall we say. So the successful minority of men on dating apps tend to be exceedingly handsome, they photograph well, they imply they've got well-paying jobs, and they often advertise their height. To illustrate the point, there is a popular meme related to modern female mate choice, 666, at least 6 feet tall bloke with a 6-figure salary and 6 inches down below. I'm sure many of us have heard of this. The height is the major issue. You can't do anything about it. The 6-figure salary, you can lie about it, as Tinder swindlers generally might do. I read recently about a student who pretended he was a millionaire, and he did very well until the police caught up with him. That was only a couple of weeks ago that I read about that. Other than the Tinder swindler, the original Tinder swindler, and the documentary on that. But you can also work at a 6-figure salary. As for your size down below, well, maybe that doesn't matter until you're actually in the process of getting it on, because they don't really know until that point. So getting in there is all about being 6 feet tall. Now, if you're 6 feet tall, but you're built out here like a hippopotamus with a massive gut, your chances of getting some success go straight through the floor. So not only 6 feet tall, there's something about a 6-pack in there, or at least looking good, looking athletic. And that is something that you can do something about, but you can't do anything if you're 5'5". You can't suddenly say that you're 6 feet tall and get away with it as soon as you turn up 5'5". That's what my hand is. If you're only 5'5", it's like, yeah, okay. So you've got to have something else that goes with it, but you've got to get over somehow the photos. You've got to get past that. You've got to get somebody saying, yes, I want you. So it goes on here. Yeah, only 14.5% of men are 6 feet and over. Only 20% of men have 6 inches or more. And only 13% make 6 figures or more. If you want a man with all three, the percentage is less than 5. And not all of them are single. Okay. I think the numbers from America is a lot lower than 5%, but we'll go with the 5%, 1 in 20. That's 1 in 20 people, and you've got 90% of women going after them. That's taking the only 12.5% of women swipe right on men. Or rather, only 12.5% of men get swiped right on. So 85 to 90% of men get absolutely nothing. The result for women is that while the average number of sexual partners they have under 30 has roughly doubled in the past 20 years, there's a lot of indications that for a lot of women it's gone into the hundreds, much more than doubled. There has been a marked decrease in long-term cohabitations and marriages. Now, of course, the dating apps are not necessarily about marriage. A lot of them, especially Tinder, is about hooking up. And that's where the women may well be doubling their number of sexual partners on average over the past 20 years. But it said earlier on that 30% of blokes under the age of 30, which is the same demographic here, 30% of blokes under the age of 30 are either virgins or incels, not having had any intimate relationship over the past 12 months. Fascinating stuff. Nearly half of women aged 30 to 45 are single. They don't have a partner. They're not married. It doesn't mention whether they may have been married and got divorced and now can't find anybody, because the grass certainly is not greener. You may well be a very good looking 30 to 45-year-old. You may well be able to get those sexual partners, but you're not necessarily going to be able to get somebody who will stick with you. There's two differences here. There are two minds that every man can go into when he looks at a woman, and is, yeah, I'll smash, and yes, I'll partner. And they're two very different things. So women with large body counts will in general be smashable, but they're not likely to be seen as life partners, or even dating partners, or maybe not even somebody that they really wish to be seen around town with. If I go on here, the involuntary childlessness rate in developed countries is between 20 and 35%. Now that's a term that I had not heard before. Involuntary childlessness rate. Childlessness rate. What's that? An in-child, shall we say? You are an in-child, or an inchie. Women who want children but do not have one and can't get one, or can't get to have one with somebody who is of a certain standard that will produce a child that has the chances of having a good set of DNA. 1 in 5 women, between 1 in 5 women and 1 in 3 women do not have a child. Yet they want one. The ones that want one. I find that fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. They can get sex, but they're childless. And they want a child. Sex in the modern era is becoming something of a dystopian, brave new world for many people. Welcome to modern dating. I found this quite fascinating article, mainly because it's in the woke mainstream media, and that's really important, I think. That's really important to understand. This stuff is getting out there. It's becoming mainstream that this information is getting out there. It will lead to a change in society, I'm hoping. It will lead to a change in the way that men and women interact. It will hopefully lead to more things coming out in the mainstream, which might include that false accusations lead to criminal cases being brought against the people who make false accusations, because it's a complete hypocritical and philosophical fallacy to connect that if you punish false accusations, then you'll get even less people who have had some kind of sexual abuse against them coming forward to the police. No, that's not what will happen at all. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, and I'll move into the outro. See you all soon.
Got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay, cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency, a message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me, respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy, hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe, I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up.